I would like to recognize Mr. Carter from Georgia.
Well, thank you, and thank all of you for being here. Very, very interesting subject matter that we have as our first hearing of the year. I find it very interesting. Mr. Miller, let me ask you, just to reiterate and make sure I understand, I'm not a lawyer, I'm a pharmacist. So I don't.
Good for you.
Yeah, I don't know much about law or lawyers. And
it's a dangerous weapon.
Well, let me ask you something. Right now, this court case, how many patients is it impacting?
People hypothetically might react thinking it's real, but otherwise nobody.
But it's my understanding it's still in litigation.
Correct. And it's going to take a while, and it's going to end up differently than where it starts. But we're doing this, make-believe, because it'll score some points.
Make-believe, I mean, we're in Congress. We're not supposed to be make-believe. I mean,
well,
I'm trying to understand why this is the first hearing. And when it's not impacting a single patient at this time, it's still in litigation. We don't know how it's going to turn out. We don't know how long it's going to take. Judging by other court cases that we've seen, it may take a long, long time.
Well, to be fair, I used to run hearings in Congress on staff.
Well,
Majority can run any kind of hearing it wants to.
So anyway, I'm trying to figure out why this is the first hearing. I mean, earlier the chairman of the full committee berates our Republican leader and because he asked for a hearing on something that he's opposed to and that I'm opposed to, and I'm just trying to figure it out. One of the things that we do agree on is that pre-existing conditions need to be covered. Isn't it possible for us to still be working on pre-existing conditions now and legislating pre-existing conditions while this is under litigation?
Well, you need our majorities who are willing to either spend money, change rules, and move things around. But that's been hard for Congress to do.
Well, I think that the record would show that, the first one of the first bills that we proposed in the Republican Party was in a Republican conference was for pre-existing conditions. Chairman Walden, in fact, I know he did because I co-sponsored it.
Yeah, it was one of the more thorough ones.
We have concentrated on that. So thank you for that. I just want to make sure, Mr. Roy, I want to ask you: Did you testify before the Oversight Committee recently?
Last week, yes.
What were they talking about in the Oversight Committee? What were you testifying about?
Prescription drug prices, the high cost of prescription drugs.
Go figure. Here we are in the committee, in the subcommittee, with the most jurisdiction over health care issues, and Oversight has already addressed prescription drug pricing?
Well, you have 2 years in this committee, and I look forward to hopefully being invited to talk about
I do too. I'm just baffled by the fact that, drug pricing is one of the issues, is the issue that most citizens, when polled, identify as being something that Congress needs to be acting on. And I'm just trying to figure out, and Oversight, they've already addressed it.
One thing I will say about this topic, Mr. Carter, is that it's one of the real opportunities for bipartisan policy in this Congress. We have a Republican administration and a Democratic House where there's been a lot of interest in reducing the cost of prescription drugs, and I'm optimistic that we really have an opportunity here to get legislation
And I
through
thank
Congress.
you for bringing that up, because Representative Schrader and I have already co-sponsored a bill to stop what I think is the gaming of the system of the generic manufacturers and the brand name manufacturers, of what they're doing and delaying generic products to get onto the market. So, Madam Chair, I'm just wondering, when are we going to have...
Would the gentleman yield?
And if I could ask a question, when are we going to have a hearing on prescription drug prices?
I can't give you the date, but it is one of the top priorities of the majority. It's one of the issues that we ran on with the promise to lower prescription drug prices. I believe that there is a bipartisan appetite for this, and we will have hearings and we will address it.
Reclaiming my time, I appreciate that very much, Madam Chair, because it is a pressing issue, and it is an issue that needs to be addressed now and today. Unlike what we're discussing here today, that's not impacting one single person at this point. So, with all due respect, Madam Chair, I hope that we can get to prescription drug pricing ASAP, because it is something that we need to be, and that we are working on. And Mr. Roy, you could not be more correct. This is a bipartisan issue. I practiced pharmacy for over 30 years. Never did I once see someone say, oh, this is a price for the Democrat, this is a price for the Republican, this is a price for this person or that person. It was always the same. It was always high. That's why we need to be addressing this. So I thank you for being here. I thank all of you for being here. And Madam Chair, I yield back.
Thank the gentleman. I now would